This week decides who wins and who gets wiped out. We've got a Fed cutting rates for the first time in years. The biggest tech companies on earth are reporting earnings, and Trump and President Xi is meeting this week to ease global tensions because we know they've wiped out some money 2 weeks ago. And what happens in 5 days could shift trillions of dollars and determine where the next wave of wealth is created. I want you to think about that as I show you something that I bought. Real gold that goes into my vault, that I store wealth and that I've been storing gold coins in since about 2019 when the pandemic first started. I've been buying gold coins. This right here is a 1 ounce coin, 1 real ounce. It came in and I have been storing these for about 5 years. There's a company that can actually store your gold for you. And so, yes, this is what I've been doing because I don't want my money and my wealth to be affected by that. Before we get into all this, man, I want you to like and subscribe to this video because this is truly going to be an impactful video. You know, with this channel, I don't focus on just telling you what stocks to buy. I also want you to understand what's going on. I want you to understand what's happening because most people just want, buy me this, sell me this stock, tell me the stocks, trap. And I feel like what we should be really doing is not just looking at the market, but we should also be understanding what's going on. So I'm going to do an in-depth breakdown for you, but I need you to take some responsibility. I need you to do some research with me, y'all. I need you to understand what it is I'm saying so you can verify what I'm saying. And before you make any investment, I need you to be also just making sure you do the right research, y'all. Let's go. The most important week since Liberation Day massacre, I think, is this week. Because the last time markets were this tense, we watched 1.6 trillion vanish in hours, not in days, but in hours. We see the rising cost of groceries, gas, dining. We see all that's connected to inflation. We have a Federal Reserve saying that inflation will hit 2% by 2028, but at the cost of what? Maximum unemployment. This means layoffs, slow down in hiring, squeezing our wallets, all in the name of control. I want you to listen to this. This is where the chaos is getting hellish. But where there's chaos, there's also positioning. And right now, smart investors, you're not scared. We just watching the setup. And that's why I truly want to shift my attention and shift my energy to. Because a lot of people don't understand, before the rally, before the markets take off, there's always a shakeout phase. And that shakeout phase, it scares a lot of investors. It makes you rethink what's going on. It makes you sell positions that you shouldn't have bought. It makes you sell positions that you were sure of, but you're scared because you're trying to preserve money. And then when the market starts running, you try to re-enter. When truly the time to truly buy is when the market is most fearful. And we saw that the markets were, the fear and greed index was at 25 and 22 last week. This is when people got the most scared. And this is what myself and people on my Patreon, this is what we truly did. What? We anchored to better positions. We doubled down on positions that we felt were really, really good. And this is why I want you to capitalize. So let's just talk about what's at stake right now. We have earnings of some of the biggest companies in the world. We have Fed policy. We have politics, all colliding at once. This could be a triple threat. We got Meta, we got Google, we got Microsoft, we got Apple, we got Amazon. The 5 biggest companies outside of NVIDIA. They hold 12 trillion in market cap. Let's think about that again. 12 trillion in market cap alone, y'all. The Fed rate cut could mean, well, borrowing gonna go up high. What else could it mean for us that we understand it? We got to understand the things that are at stake right now. When we talk about rate cuts, borrowing gets cheaper. When borrowing gets cheaper, that tells us that what? Big companies are going to borrow and they're going to pour a lot of money into growth. Well, you also have a President Xi meeting, global trade, AI, rare earths, semiconductors. All of this hang at the balance of this week, y'all. This is truly, if I must say so, this is truly the perfect storm for us. The world's biggest companies, the most powerful politicians, and the central banks are all moving at once. Man, this is a category 5 storm waiting to happen. Well, what they do? We don't care because we won't get shaken out. Inflation, unemployment, the illusion of stability. Core inflation is down to about 3%. The target is 2%. That sounds close, but it's not. To the hit, I want you to understand that the Fed is willing to crush demand and let the unemployment rate rise. I want you to say that again. They're willing to crush demand and let unemployment rise. When the Fed says maximum unemployment is not a goal, that's not a goal. It's a consequence. That's right. They're saying we'll slow down the economy until inflation breaks. Well, we had a CPI data that came out that said most Americans are paying more for groceries, gas, dining, and entertainment. Americans are paying more for less. But behind that pain, capital is quietly repositioning. Behind that pain, trillion-dollar companies are becoming more. Billionaires are getting more billions. Because I want you to understand that money doesn't disappear, it only migrates. And for us as retail investors who are first-time millionaires, who are the ones who are going to be responsible for generational wealth, the ones who are trying to turn our last names into an asset, I don't want to pump fear into you. I just want you to understand what's going on so that you can put yourself and your families in position. This week here is a big week. So why do earnings matter this week? Well, they always matter. But now we got the people who are leading the future at the forefront. Let's break down why this week matters. Because this isn't just another quarter. These are 5 companies, again, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Meta, and Amazon. They are the heartbeat of the United States of America's economy. Well, not from the perspective of the small investor, but when these companies fail, the world looks like America is failing. But when these companies do good and when these companies push forward, it's an opportunity for us to push forward, just as investors, as wealth builders. And mind you, these were the same companies that were at the dining hall or that are responsible for rebuilding Trump's ballroom in the White House. Together, they make up 25% of the entire S&P 500 market cap. 1 in every $4 inside the U.S. stock market is tied to these names. So when they rise, the market breathes. When they fall, the market suffocates. This is why companies like this are vital for us to check not just the real health of America, but the health of the stock market. And I've said this a million times. There is no stock market without technology. There is no wealth to be made in the market without technology. We can talk all the stabilization and we can talk all the value we want. But when tech fails, so does the stock market. When tech rides, so does the stock market. Let's talk about Microsoft, the AI empire. At over $3.3 trillion market cap, it's the most valuable company on earth. They don't just sell software. They sell infrastructure. Their cloud division, Azure, powers almost 25% of all global cloud in the market, next to Amazon. And with their partnership with OpenAI, I want you to understand that the engine behind ChatGPT, Microsoft has positioned itself as a key component in the AI revolution. Every AI model, every enterprise rollout runs through Microsoft in some kind of way. So a strong earnings report from Microsoft doesn't mean they made more money. It means AI spending is alive and well. And I want you to understand when I say the most valuable company, I'm meaning behind NVIDIA, which is at a $4.something trillion. Because I know y'all gonna be like, no, Tribe, it's NVIDIA. We know NVIDIA. We meaning of these companies that we're talking about right now, they are right behind that. That's why they're so powerful. Now, let's talk about something that really happened. Let's talk about Apple, the consumer pulse. So while everybody looks at Apple as this global tech giant, I don't. I look at Apple as a huge consumer staple. Now, the iPhone 17 has sent the stocks soaring, sitting at about 2.7, 2.8 trillion. Apple is the pulse of the consumer. Not, kind of we look at Walmart, but I think that is really Apple. When people start buying iPhones, AirPods, and Mac, not just bad for Apple, it's bad for America. It's a signal that the average American consumer is pulling back. So when Apple reports, we're not just looking at the company, we're reading a heartbeat of global spending. We saw them take off because China's sales exploded. And here's the key. Apple is quietly building into AI. They put money into computing and chip design. Their ecosystem touches 1.5 active devices worldwide. This is not just a company. This is a civilization. Apple has more users than a lot of countries. Then we got to think about Google, Alphabet, the information monopoly. With around 2.5 trillion in market cap, they control over 90% of global search. Now, that market, they dominate, they digital advertise. If Google's ad revenue slows, it means business confidence is shrinking. Because when companies fear the future, the first thing they do is cut advertising. Google isn't just making bets on AI, y'all. Gemini, DeepMind, quantum computing. So if they beat, it tells us two things. Consumers are still spending and corporate world is still investing in innovation. If they miss, that tells us that businesses are retreating and bracing for a slowdown. Now, I know what y'all going to say. Trap ChatGPT. Of course, 100%. Google loves that, right? It makes them keep innovating. It makes them keep fighting to get better. It makes them keep on. Now, chat is 100% a threat, but we need that smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And we need companies like chat to make them keep innovating. But trust me, Google isn't going nowhere. Now, we got Meta. We're roughly 1.4 trillion in market value. Meta doesn't sell the product you hold. They sell attention. We're talking Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. That's over 3.2 billion users daily. More than anybody else. Their earnings are a mirror of how much time people are spending scrolling and how much companies are paying to be seen. What they do, Meta's numbers rise. It means that budgets for ads are flowing. But if they miss, it means companies are cutting back. And that digital economy is tightening. Plus, you got Meta's reality labs. They bet on the metaverse. And AI-driven content shows how serious they are about owning the next generation of digital life. We also understand that Meta did what, y'all? The Meta glasses. We also understand that Mark Zuckerberg said a statement that was so powerful, I think it's going to get overlooked. He said, I'm willing to spend billions, hundreds of billions on AI so I can be at the forefront, then lose hundreds of billions for not participating at all. That's a key statement from a young billionaire. Then we got Amazon, the global supply chain. They are the epitome of supply chain. The empire of logistics and cloud at roughly 2.3 trillion. They're not just an e-commerce company, y'all. No. They're the invisible infrastructure behind global business. Amazon Web Service, AWS, powers everything from Netflix to NASA to Robinhood. Which is why when they had the outage last week, we saw a lot of people's Robinhood get caught up. We saw Netflix getting caught. We saw a lot of companies got jammed up. That tells you the power, how big AWS is. So while Microsoft is truly a big player, AWS is the biggest. The biggest. Their fulfillment network spans the planet, y'all. Their AI integration is making everything smarter every quarter. So when Amazon reports earnings, they're looking at the strength of the global consumer and the AI enterprise. And if people are buying, businesses are building, and cloud demand is up. That's a signal of real economic expansion. And if not, just buckle up, y'all. And that's just to start things off. We got a long way to go here. But I'm talking to you this way because I want you to understand that these powerful companies are all in 1 week. But we've never had a situation like this. So here's the truth. This isn't just an earnings week. This is a week of rebalance, of looking at the economy itself. 5 companies, 12 trillion in market cap, controlling the direction of every index, every ETF, and every major fund in the world. A beat across the bull could have had a market breakout, especially with a Fed rate cut coming a couple days later. A miss, it could trigger a triggering drawdown like April sell-off. Either way, this movement this week won't just be about numbers. It's about a momentum. And the momentum is where wealth transfer truly happens. Now, some of us may not be tapped in. You feel like it's just earnings. And, well, it's not. It's bigger. It's way bigger than what we can imagine. But I want you to understand this. And I've said this many times, fear doesn't destroy wealth. It transfers it to those who understand what's really happening below the surface. Now, there's a powerful storm happening. Now, let's talk about Trump. If Trump and President Xi find a common ground, global trade could breathe again. If the Fed cuts too fast, inflation might return. If tech beats earnings, the AI bull run could last. If they miss, fear will flood the market. It's not about predicting it. It's about understanding where the opportunity puts itself at. So how do we position ourselves? That's the key question in all of this. How do we put ourselves in position to win, to build, to grow? Well, the President Xi meeting with Trump is essential because it talks about rare earths, and you saw the market sell off on soybeans. I've said this a million times in my trading group. I've said this a million times in Travelers Anonymous, yo. Like, if President Trump and Xi can get along just to do business together, that puts the world at ease. Now, we know they're going to backstab. They're going to, throw shots at each other all the time. We know Trump, he doesn't think like that. He's going to always be on the forefront, but there's people behind him that's moving real quiet. President Xi, on the other hand, he's going to stand up for China. He's going to put China in position to do what? They're looking at that number one spot. They want to become the most powerful country in the world, and we got to be ready for that. So if them two can get along, if them two can play in a sandbox together, the markets will soar and wealth will be made. The last time markets looked like this, investors who stayed disciplined, well, they build generational wealth. For the impatient, well, you lose it. This week is about positioning yourself, not panicking. So if you think like an investor, not a victim, man, this week could be amazing. We're watching a storm and we got to navigate it. Now, when we think about this rate cut that Jay Powell is talking about, that's going to be essential, October 29th. I want you to think about something. When the Fed is doing a thing called quantitative tightening, I want you to understand something. The Fed controls the flow of money, not just by setting interest rates, but also by controlling the supply of money. And they do this by two tools, quantitative easing and quantitative tightening. The money printer's on, the money printer's off. So when we think about this, I want you to understand. When the economy slows down, when the markets crash, like in 2008 or 2020, the Fed wants to make it easy for people and businesses to borrow and spend. So the Fed does what? They buy government bonds and other assets like mortgage-backed securities. That buying puts cash back into the banking system. More cash, lowers interest rates, easing borrowing, more spending, higher asset prices. It's basically flooding the system with liquidity to jumpstart the economy. So think of QE, quantitative easing, like oxygen for the market. So when it's turned on, stocks, real estate, crypto, almost everything tends to rise because money is cheap and plentiful. Now, on the other hand, quantitative tightening. The Fed is now taking money from the system. When the economy gets too hot, inflation rises, prices are out of control, the Fed does the opposite. It stops buying bonds. It starts selling them. That pulls money out of the banking system. Less cash, higher interest rates. It's harder to borrow, slow spending, lower asset prices. Think of quantitative tightening like taking oxygen out of a room. Now, what I want you to understand is this. Right now, the Fed has been tightening, and they just told us they about to turn the money printers back on. About $1.5 trillion is going to flow into the economy and the banking system. When they start buying assets and pumping liquidity into the system, that's when you see stocks and real estate go all-time highs. When inflation gets out of control, they reverse it. So I want you to understand this. There's also a 92% chance that he'll be doing more rate cuts in December. And there's also a 72% chance that he's going to do rate cuts going into 2026. This tells us that the money printers will be on. And we need the position. Now, that doesn't mean the market goes straight up. There's going to be some ups and downs, but that optimism keeps the market going. And I want you to really think about this. With Trump in office, we understand that he's positioning himself and his family to build more wealth than ever while he's in the office. It's up to us to do the same goddamn thing. So let's take this week as a week of positioning, because once the money printers get on, they ain't going off no time soon. As long as Trump is in office, he gonna put somebody after Jay Powell to keep the money printers on. And so while the market will have its down moments, we like to buy basketballs, not donuts, because basketballs always bounce back. It's your boy, the Wall Street Trapper, man. If I provided value in this episode, I want you to like, I want you to subscribe, and I want you to share this out. Trust me, we're going to keep buying gold. We're going to keep buying assets. We're going to keep buying crypto. It's your boy, the Wall Street Trapper. Salute.